Welcome, friends. Tonight we are going to discuss all things Yule, or at least all the things that we can fit in about 45 minutes. Yule is a very expansive holiday, and it is actually, especially when you are an eclectic pagan, it can be a crazy quilt of all the different traditions. At this time of year, in the Northern Hemisphere, everyone in the Northern Hemisphere has a tradition that lights some kind of candle. It's a bonfire sometimes because it's dark, it's cold. And if you can imagine yourself 500 years ago in Northern Europe with no electricity, you would be looking for that fire, that safety, that protection, and that hope that the sun will return. This Yule is December 21st this year. It will be December 21st every year until 2030. It moves back and forth between the 20th and the 22nd because you got to remember you're dealing with a lunar calendar, so it's a little different. That's what I read. We'll see, but we're good until 2030 for December 21st being the shortest night of the year. Yule is an ancient winter festival celebrated around the winter solstice, rich in traditions that honor the return of the sun and the renewal of life. As the longest night gives way to the longer days, Yule serves as a reminder of hope and rebirth. And we have a lot of different traditions that we can choose from and try to fill. Here in the Grove, we do something a little differently every year because we want to, cover all these traditions. Now, in the Norse tradition, which a lot of us are interested in, the Norse festival at this time of year was called Yule. Yule, spelled Jolabelot, and both O's have the little mark over them. So it's Yule. And because it was lunar, on the lunar calendar, there's no specific days or duration that's really agreed upon. Some say maybe 3 days of feasting and merriment in the darkest part of the winter. The winter solstice would be an excellent time for this, that longest night. Joleblot or Yuleblot, it signals the end of their year and the sun's return after a long winter darkness. So they would be doing sacrifices to their gods to make sure that the sun returns. They would be feasting and merriment and celebration that the sun is coming back. And they pay homage to the gods and the ancestors that came before them, the spirit of the land spirits and everything, so that because they were an agricultural community. So it was very important to them that the fertility of the earth continued, and the sun was a major portion of that. Okay, so the word bloat means sacrifice or offering, and back in the day, Yule, which is the Norse word for Yule, they would be giving thanks with sacrifices of animals, and the blood would be scattered on the statues of the gods, on the walls of the temples, on the attendees of the festivals as a blessing. We don't do that anymore. But sacrificing to your deities is appropriate. Most people have certain things that their deity enjoys best, so certain foods or certain flowers or something like that. When you research a deity, you'll find what their favorites are, and that's what you would leave for blessings, for offerings, for sacrifice. Sacrifice can also be of your time and attention. Sacrifice doesn't always have to be a material thing. So that's very important to remember at this time, because this celebration was very much centered around family and community and the service to community. So sacrifice and offerings would be strengthening bonds between people, between you and your gods and the community in general. These celebrations and festivities lasted for days and days, and they would toast these gods and their heroes and their ancestors. And the festival was strongly associated with the god Freyr, because Freyr was the agricultural god that was in charge of the good harvest. And so that you really want to be on his good side and have abundance in the year ahead. Fires were kindled to dispel darkness, and evergreen branches were brought inside as symbols of renewal and everlasting life through winter. Mead and ale were specially brewed for the occasion, highlighting hospitality and generosity. These are forms of sympathetic magic. So if you want the sun to come back, you light a fire. If you want the plants to come back, then you use evergreens, something that's alive throughout the entire winter to show this is what we want. We want life to return. We want rebirth. So that's what they were doing when they developed these traditions. And mead and ale were made from last year's abundance. So here we are using that to toast to next year's abundance. It all makes sense. It all makes that cycle. And this was a time of spiritual renewal too, because you had to have faith that the sun was coming back. And this dark time was, represented death and stillness. And while the returning light symbolized rebirth. So it was a time to reflect on the past year that you spent, and then, of course, think about the next year coming with hope and with gratitude. Now, as Christianity spread, Yule gradually integrated with Christmas customs, though these traditions of the feasting and the decorating of the greenery and the lighting of candles, they stayed true to themselves. And people who, neo-pagans, Norse pagans, and Viking enthusiasts, they still observe Yule in this way. Still ritual offerings, singing, storytelling, merriment, trying to reenact those old festivals of yore, but with more modern foods, more modern ideas about sacrifice and offerings to deity. There remains a very powerful connection to nature and the earth's cycles, and the importance of honoring ancestors and divine forces that sustain life. So we've been researching this subject all week. I hope, is there anything that really stood out to you about this time of year as something that you would like to add to your spiritual practice?
I was just following the days and the different things, and just seeing how close it comes to Christmas. But
there's blurred lines between those two.
Yeah, because if you look up Yule and then Christmas, actually, I think you'd have more fun with Yule because there's more things to do, even leading up to the day of Christmas and after.
Right.
As far as family celebration and, the boar and the hunt and the goat and leaving your boots with grain or something inside of them.
Hey,
Hay. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
And it's so much more.
It's richer. It's a richer culture. Yeah. You've been sharing stuff on Friends of the Grove all week.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying that and contrasting it, comparing it to what I have found in mine. I have in my notes. This is in the files, and I also shared it in the chat. These same pages, and I have an idea of 12 days, but you are free to then mix and match and add to or subtract from, because really when it comes right down to it, we don't have definite records of what happened. We just know generally what was important to these people and what's important to people in general. Everywhere, every culture has something about the importance of family, the importance of reflecting, the importance of thinking, slowing down a little bit this time of year. In my crossed Sabbath talk, I have assigned the code word rest to this time of year, to the Yule. This is the time that rest and kind of regroup and think about what's going to happen next. Anything else?
I think one thing that we have lost in modern times from this. So if we go back, like you said, you go back at 500, 600, 700 years. There's no electricity. There's no cars. So as the days get shorter, you travel less. You're closer and closer to home. So as you get to this Yule, this longest night of the year, you really are just focusing more and more on yourself, your family, your inner core, and making sure everyone gets through that time period. So you need to enjoy each other more. And I think we lose a lot of that now because we can travel, because we have electricity. It doesn't really matter.
In my room, I can.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You could go anywhere, do anything at this point. So we lose that focus. That this is more about like you said, rest. Pay attention to your own house. This is the time you'd be fixing your house because you're sitting here looking at it. So you might as well, right? Everything is that internal. So
you got time now.
You got time to do those things and get ready for what will come. And I think we lose that, which leads to that burnout later on.
Right.
Right.
Well, if we want to move over just a little bit, I guess it's south. You want to find out why this merriment was extended to so many days. I think we have the Romans to thank for that, and Saturnalia, right? Saturnalia was held between December 17th and the 23rd, so the winter solstice was right in the middle. It was very important to honor the farmer god Saturn. So their prayer was Saturn. It's people are people. People are people and have the same basic needs, So, but nobody parties like the Romans, right? And their Saturnalia was rooted in older winter solstice rituals related to farming. But now, during this time, it was more social. The whole community would shut down, work would stop, so that everybody could be part of these big celebrations. And when you were walking down the street, instead of Merry Christmas, you would hear Io Saturnalia. Io Saturnalia. Saturn has come to save us all, right? So, again, people engaged in feasting, gift giving, singing, dancing, playing games, gambling, decorating, and role reversals. Lots of times, like your boss would work the job, serve you. Yes, role reversals. That they still do that in England. Boxing Day is the role reversal, where the servants in the house were given the gifts and were served a meal one day a year. Just one time. Just this one time. Okay. So we would be exchanging gifts at this time, and the spirit of celebration and the reverence for Saturn was in. And the season was further extended as Christianity sought to encompass all the ancient customs under the umbrella of honoring Christ. So the Son is born, from the Son is reborn. Was the umbrella. So what are some of the common traditions that we enjoy at the table? Yule log, right? The Yule log burned, smoldered in the hearth for 12 days. Usually it was a piece of the tree from last year, maybe the trunk. They wouldn't have a little tabletop tree like this one, although this one is awesome. This is like the best tree we've ever had. But if they had a huge tree, they'd cut the trunk off when they brought it in the house, and that would serve as the Yule log next year. So they had last year's, they would save it. It would be lit on December 21st, and it would be left to smolder as long as it could last, and they'd like to make it last. The fire last. Bank it and make that fire last for the 12 nights of Christmas. Today, it's accustomed to make a cake that looks like a Yule log. I've never had a successful jelly roll. I don't know. Have you? Have you ever had
I'm going to try it.
Try it. I suggest this. Go to Publix, get a cake, and then decorate it to look like or yodels.
A lot of them, just
like a lot of them. Sweet rolls.
Frost.
So feasting and merriment is on the menu, and this is the families and communities share meals, celebrating the season's abundance. This is a time to reconnect with loved ones and honor the cycles of life, and don't forget those that don't have anyone to share this time with. That would be part of your sacrificing, to give the gift of letting someone come over, and sharing the time with them. It's a nice thing. So the decorations at this time, evergreens, lots of green, red, and white. And that's because it is the holly and the mistletoe that are still alive at this time. So you're celebrating those green leaves, red berries, white berries, and anything symbolizing life and resilience during the winter. Stars and fires, all sorts of things. We've been collecting these for many years. We've got things that people have made and things that people have brought, and that's nice to have. There's even Krampus. There's Krampus on there. And somewhere on the tree, there's a pickle. There's an emotional support pickle. That's the Christmas pickle.
Christmas pickle's in there somewhere.
Okay. So modern celebrations would include offerings and rituals too to deities and ancestors in nature, by same way they did, by lighting candles, making offerings, engaging in meditative practices, reflecting on the year past, and setting intentions for the year ahead. When you're talking about offerings for ancestors, well, if you knew them, then you know it's put out. If you're talking about my granny, there would be a cup of black coffee and a dish of vanilla ice cream, and probably some kind of Western on the TV, Gunsmoke or the Virginia. And if there was no Western on, you could just put on Tennessee Ernie Ford. That was it. It was her favorite singer. Yeah, she was hillbilly. Anyway, let's see. And I say that lovingly, not as a derogatory term. Hashtag. Okay, Krampus. You got my shirt. He's half goat and half demon. He's Krampus. He is Santa Claus' dark counterpart that takes care of that naughty list. Here's Krampus bells. Oh, Carl, you don't have your big bells. So Carl has the biggest bell. He's going to show you. Because he does play Krampus every year. But we have in the past played Krampus. We do a run around. Look at that. That's a big one. And you could wear your mask, and you could ring your bells, and you could run around and chase people and try to put them, chase children and put them in your sack. Last year there was a Krampus at one of the metaphysical stores, and I went and got a picture taken with him. And when I walked in, I said, "Krampus, I haven't seen you. How you been, man? I was in your sack in the 60s." and the guy in the Krampus suit was great. He went, he ran over and hugged me like we hadn't seen each other in a long time.
That's fabulous.
The picture's still on my Facebook page. All right. So the name Krampus comes from the German word Krampen, which is claw, and he is occasionally considered the son of hell in Norse mythology, which means he is Loki's grandson. So there you go. So now you have an idea of
Makes sense.
what Krampus is. And he serves the moral lesson that, you can't just be good the 1st of December and expect, no, because Krampus will come, and Krampusnacht is December 5th, and he'll take you away and not bring you back until all the holidays over. Yeah, so, there are consequences for your actions. Which brings us to Frau Perk. Frau Perk might be presented as a beautiful silver-haired woman, or she might be an old hag, depending on the state of your craft room. Yeah. Really?
I know she's going to be in my house. She's not going to be beautiful.
She is, a lot of these things, Krampus, Frauparka, and the Wild Hunt that we'll talk about next, they were ways to keep the children in line. They were ways to keep people industrious. And also, like we said, closer to home. Because there was real fear at that time. You could get eaten by wolves for real. You could misstep and fall in the river for real and drown. And, they might say the next day you were taken by the Wild Hunt because they don't know what happened to you, So, but, yeah, Alma must have ran into Frau Parker. Look at her craft ring.
The Frau Perk, oftentimes was teaching you about familial obligation. So another one where it comes down to obligation, making sure you did your winter tasks. So it wasn't so much about,
When does she come?
right about now.
Yeah.
But making sure.
Well, she wants to see everything tidy by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, but it's about keeping your house together, because if you don't do those repairs on your house and do those obligations, somebody could freeze to death.
Exactly.
It could cause real harm. So at that point, the winter witch got you.
Yeah.
Right.
Frau Perk got you because you did not take care of your
It
house.
probably kept people from getting that depression.
Yeah.
Where you just want to just sleep all day because you got to get up and get things. Just because it's dark out doesn't mean that there's nothing to do. And you won't be ready for spring if you don't have your food in water. It's survival.
Is.
Survival. Now, the Brothers Grimm called her Frau Hole. Have you ever read the fairy tale about Frau Hole and the two sisters?
Sounds good.
So, you got two sisters. One is very industrious, gets all her work done, and one is very lazy. And their mother actually favors the lazy one and makes the industrious one do all the work because her baby needs rest.
Sounds like Cinderella.
Yeah. So one day, while the industrious one is doing her chores, she falls in the well. And stuff happens, and she ends up coming upon Frau Hola in the woods. And Frau Hola says, "Come in. I have food. Can you set the table? Can you help me? Can you help me do this?" And oh, yes, right away. And she, set the table, helped her finish the feast, and ate with her, and helped her clean up afterwards. And "You have been such a good guest. Here, let me give you a fresh pair of clothing and gold to bring back home." And she showed her the way to get back home. And the mother said, "What? What? I want those things for my baby, right? For my precious daughter." So she threw her daughter down the well. She threw the lazy one down the well. The lazy one went to the Frau and said, "I'm here for my stuff." And the Frau says, "Sure, come on in. We're going to eat. Will you help me set the table?" "No." "Will you help me cook the food?" "No." "No." And she sent that girl home tarred and feathered. So, there again, another example of not only is it wrong to be lazy, but also doesn't the world reflect like a mirror back to you the way you present yourself to the world? That's like a really good lesson. You can't just sit there and say, "When somebody gives me something, I'll do a better job. When I get a raise, I'll work harder." I've heard people say that. But yeah, that's not what these stories teach us. So what about that wild hunt? Did you read anything good about the wild hunt?
I didn't read totally, just the horse that Odin rode on with the 8 legs. And
Slept near. Yeah. I crocheted one once. Lots of legs. So these origins go back to Germanic Norse traditions and take on different forms as it spread across Europe. Because everybody loves this. No idea. I think the song "Riders on the Storm" is kind of like that, and Ghost Riders in the Sky, right? That's the kind of lesson we have here. Everybody likes it. In Norse tradition, yes, Odin rode Sleipnir. In the Germanic lore, the figure was known as Wotan, or the Dark Huntsman, associated with death and the underworld. And in British and Celtic traditions, the wild hunt was linked to fairy possessions or ghostly armies and believed to signal disaster. And in some regions, the hunt was said to be led by historical or mystical figures like King Arthur or Herne the Hunter. So, every place had their rider, but it was always a very dramatic figure that led the wild hunt, and the horses were huge, black, and they snorted fire, and they rode through, and all the souls of the dead and the damned were riding these horses. And again, kept you in the house because you did not want to be a living person snatched up by the wild hunt. And you could actually leave some bread and some apples for the horses way on the edge of your property so that they'll take it and keep going, just keep going. So that's wild. So anything else about traditions? Any other traditions that you found?
Mhm. Well, there's the Mary Lou.
The Mary
The
Lou.
Mary Lou.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Mary.
Mary who?
Mary Lou.
Mary Lou.
The Mary Lou is like the horse's skull that people would go from door to door, kind of like carolers, but they would
More like a Welsh rap battle is the best way to put it.
right.
So
Rap.
rap.
Rap. Like we just did the knock
Oh,
knock.
yeah.
Yeah, they'd come to the door and they'd give you a riddle and you'd have to answer them. And they'd make a rhyme and you'd have to answer them and
Whoever ran out first lost.
would have to feed the other
Oh, okay.
cookies and waffle.
Oh, okay. They didn't sacrifice them.
So it's
No
a Welsh
sacrifice,
no sacrifice. It's a Welsh version of a wild hunt, or similar to, or comes from that idea. So it's people coming around at this point. It's people coming around the houses, knocking on doors with the Mary Lou, signifying that.
Oh, okay. So it was
So
a fun thing.
you become in a battle of wits with
Yes.
the Fae, and if you lose a battle of wits with the Fae, you're obligated to them. You pay.
You pay the price.
And in this case, you paid the price by they came to eat your stuff.
Right. Well, those
And
people that knocked on the door, they were ready. They were ready for you. They'd been practicing,
Okay.
So, and the
Became a fun
idea
thing.
was you wanted them to win because then you could offer them. And there's the offerings. There's the offerings. When you give that offering, you give them a drink and a meat pie or a treat of some kind, then that was your sacrifice. That was your offering to.
That's not really a sacrifice.
No, but
No, but it's instead of
it
taking your
symbolically
So
says
instead of taking it,
you're symbolically
after all.
giving. So they want, and that would put a blessing on the house.
okay.
It's the fun version of the wild hunts.
Yeah, that's the fun.
I'm looking at so
Got your notes. Good job.
So another point I wanted to make 12 days. You said it, 12 days of Christmas, 12 days of October. What's with 12? What's with 12? So I wanted to look up the numerology of 12 just to see what it was. Would that be interesting? It is completeness, harmony, balance, service to others, companionship, optimism, leadership, compassion, cycles of experience, rebirth, and sensitivity, and a higher consciousness and spiritual development. So I think that's a pretty good number to use for that. And then 12 can be reduced down to 3. So there we got our 3 again from the original Yule bloat. And 3 is creativity, self-expression, and joy, communication, social ability, optimism again, encouraging many artistic and imaginary pursuits. And it's viewed as a symbol of growth and expansion and frequently associated with manifestation and transforming ideas into reality. So those are some great numbers for this. So if you want to do something in a 3-day span or a 12-day span, you can think about that numerology and that meaning. I know that Hanukkah, which is another celebration of lights at this time of year, is 8 nights, but those first 2 nights are most important. Those 2 Sabbats, you want to either have at your house if you're very devout, or you want to go to a devoted person's house. Those are the 2. And the rest is for family gatherings, more intimate gatherings. But those are the 2. So the first 3 nights of your Yule could be something real special, and then the next one's just like a little something that you do at the dinner table. I have an example here of 12 nights, and Moss put 12 nights on the Friends of the Grove post. So, but what I found in all of them, the first night is Mother's Night. And you mentioned that might be for Frau Perkta, or those female deities that are so important. The female counterpart of Freyr would be Frigg, Frigg and Freyr, and the Disir is the female ancestors. So first call your mother. That's the first night. And light candles and offer food. My granny's getting a cup of black coffee and a dish of vanilla ice cream.
And a Western.
And a Western. Write her poetry. Do some Louis Lamar.
Read a Louis Lamar.
And meditate. And just visit with them and remember them. Tell stories about your female ancestors. And the second night, now this is the shortest night. A lot of people stay up all night to see that sun come up. That's hardcore. But whenever you wake up, you'll see that the sun has come up, and so the second day would be all about welcoming that sun's rebirth. And the third day, you could celebrate family and have a big dinner with your family. The fourth day, an example would be a day of strength, where you encourage yourself and others to honor your personal power, and talk about challenges that you've overcome and what deities you have that have helped you this year, spirits of strength. Thank them. Now, the fifth day coincides with Christmas Day, so why not make that a day of giving? Giving small gifts to your family, to your friends, to your coven, what have you. But also thinking about those non-material gifts. Take something to the food bank that day. You've already been celebrating for 4 days. But you provide a meal for someone else, right? And give that way. On the 26th, you might think about your spiritual renewal and bless your home, and cleanse your ritual space, cleanse your altar, and recharge your crystals and your tarot cards. Get ready for the new season. And on the 7th day, think about the wisdom to keep going through the year. You can ask for guidance by scrying or reading runes or tarot cards. On the 8th day, you can focus on the abundance that you already have and prosperity. Do some prosperity spells. And on the 9th day, which will be December 29th, you can think about protecting your home. Make some protective amulets, and protect that energy that you've been raising all week long. Because then on the 30th, that's when the wild hunt comes through, and you want to protect your home, and you want to make sure those apples are outside, way outside your door. And on the 31st, Yule then coincides with New Year's Eve. Well, what's more pagan than fireworks and sparklers and dancing in the dark? Just lean into it. Just do whatever you do on New Year's Eve. But then on New Year's Day, make that a day of renewal and new beginnings, and reflect on the transformations you went through since last Yule, and plan for future transformations, maybe writing in a journal or making yourself a vision board. I think that's an activity that I'd like to do as a group. Maybe we'll make vision boards, see where we're at and what we'd like to do. So that's just some ideas. There are others, I believe, in the list that you put that included a day where you would honor the spirits of the land. Did I miss any others?
I think so.
Yeah, you could design the days the way that it seems natural for you, or the way that the calendar falls. And it doesn't have to be an all-day thing or an all-night thing. Like I said, maybe plan a little activity every night at the dinner table for the family to do together, or lead the conversation in the direction of. So, two more things before we do our magical. It's for the birds. You know that 12-day of Christmas? Have you seen this article about the birds? It's all birds. It's all edible birds. Okay, so you got a partridge and 2 turtle doves and 3 French hens and 4 cold birds.
Yeah.
5 golden rings is the ringneck pheasant.
Oh.
It's all birds that rich people would eat. Oh, yeah, it's all about the food.
Yeah.
Then you got 6 geese and 6 swans, and then 8 maids of milking. Are these little guys, these little egrets that go in the cattle?
Oh.
By the cattle? They're delicious. So I've heard in the medieval times they would be fried with tomatoes. Crunch it. 9 ladies dancing. The northern lapwing, right? They like to hang out in short grass, which makes them really easy to shoot. You can get a ton of those for dinner. And then 10 lords of leaping. 10 lords of leaping. Gray herons, you only need 1 there. The turkeys of medieval times. Right? Now these would be on rich people's tables, so these were really expensive gifts that you're talking about. 11 drummers drumming was can I read upside down? Was the common snipe. When the snipe does their little mating dance, they dive bomb the earth and they spread their little wings out and it goes. And they were roasted and held by their beaks and eaten like kebabs.
They came with their own toothpick.
Right, yes. And so were the 12 pipers piping, which would be the common sandpiper. Yeah.
Alrighty.
They were all edible birds.
Wow.
So, we have a song to sing because that's part of Yule. Oof. So croak this, if you will. This is a version of the 12 Days of Christmas that was written by Carl the Drum Guy. On the first day of Yule,
Odin blessed to me a possum in my Yule tree.
On the second day of Yuletide,
Odin blessed to me 2 squirrels nesting and a possum in my Yule tree.
On
the third day of Yuletide, Odin blessed to me 3 cats scratching, 2 squirrels nesting and a possum in my Yule tree. On the 4th day of Yuletide, Odin blessed to me 4 banners flying, 3 cats scratching, 2 squirrels and a possum in my tree. On the 5th day of Yuletide, Odin blessed to me 4 horns of mead. 4 banners flying, 3 cats scratching, 2 squirrels nesting, and a possum in my Yule tree. On the 6th day of Yuletide, Odin blessed to me 6 salmon smoking, 5 horns of mead. 4 banners flying, 3 cats scratching, 2 squirrels nesting, and a possum in my Yule tree. On the 7th day of Yuletide, Odin blessed to me 7 valkyries flying, 6 salmon smoking, 5 horns of mead. 4 banners flying, 3 cats scratching, 2 squirrels nesting, and a possum in my Yule tree. On the 8th day of Yuletide, Odin blessed to me. 8 heroes singing, 7 Valkyries flying, 6 salmon smoking, 5 horns of mead. 4 banners flying, 3 cats a scratching, 2 squirrels nesting, and a possum in my Yule tree. On the 9th day of Yuletide, Odin blessed to me. 9 vulgar cackling, 8 heroes singing, 7 Valkyries flying, 6 salmon smoking, 5 horns of mead. 4 banners flying, 3 cats a scratching, 2 squirrels nesting, and a possum in my Yule tree. On the 10th day of Yuletide, Odin blessed to me. 10 tribes of Viking, 9 vulgar cackling, 8 heroes singing, 7 Valkyries flying, 6 salmon smoking, 5 horns of mead. 4 banners flying, 3 cats a scratching, 2 squirrels nesting, and a possum in my Yule tree. On the 11th day of Yuletide, Odin blessed to me. Singing, Fenrir fleeing, 10 tribes of Viking, 9 vulgar cackling, 8 heroes singing, 7 Valkyries flying, 6 salmon smoking, 5 horns of mead. 4 banners flying, 3 cats a scratching, 2 squirrels nesting, and a possum in my Yule tree. On the 12th day of Yuletide, Odin blessed to me. A vision of my ancestors in Valhalla, me seeing Fenrir fleeing, 10 tribes of Viking, 9 vulgar cackling, 8 heroes singing, 7 Valkyries flying, 6 salmon smoking, 5 horns of mead. 4 banners flying, 3 cats a scratching, 2 squirrels nesting, and a possum in my Yule tree. You've done 5 horns and you
Let's
put
give
all
them
that.
miles of beer along.
Yep.
See, now you'll have a heads up when we do our Yule. So we'll know that in advance. We practice.
There we go.
Okay.
We have a whole songbook.
Ooh, yeah.
That's going in the songbook, right?
This is in the songbook. All right. It's in the songbook. We have our the Grove Solstice songbook that we'll be taking to our which I should take them on Sunday too, so everybody can sing this. But they can't keep up because those are ours.
Only the child ones.
Yeah, there's a couple in there. Okay, so we didn't talk about the Yule goat.
No.
Carl, tell us about the Yule goat. Is that Thor's goat?
Yes.
Yes.
There's usually 2 of them, and he would, yes.
They pull his chariot.
Usually they pulled his chariot, and he would sometimes sacrifice them, and then he would bring them back. That was the miracle. They would be part of the feast, and then he would return them in the new year.
Sustainable feasting.
Yep.
He's ahead of his time, that Thor.
Yeah. But the goat is a big deal in the Yule traditions because not only you bring them in at that time of year, they give you milk for the children. They provide warmth. They're security for the house because if people come around, they make a lot of noise. So
They do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we're gonna close our evening with magical working, and then we will start a fire outside. Here to stay for that. But this is a spell that I developed that creates a Yule ornament. And I call it the healthy, wealthy, and wise ornaments. Okay, so you take some red and green twine. You can take red or green, or you can take red and green. More pleasant. And you take a dried orange slice, and these were sitting in my oven like all day, so they're like really hard.
Good and dry.
Good and dry. Good and dry. And you tie. Tie on. Now, as you're tying this on there, what focuses to, you recite the spell. A slice of the sun for health. So now you take your spoons. And as you're making this knot, you are putting the intention of health for the new year. Health. A stick of the spice for wealth. This is your cinnamon. Place that there and tie it. You're going to have to tie it a couple of times to get it to really stay. So turn it back and forth a couple of times. Put a couple of knots to get your cinnamon stick on the top. Okay. Then you add a star of insight to use them well. That is your star anise. I've got the blue here. You can just put a little drop anywhere. Put your little star anise on there. Hanger, tying it all together. And as you're doing this, you're thinking about healthy, wealthy, and wise. And you put it on the tree, and you ring the bell. And there you go. Now that's going to stay on this tree. Now that belongs on that tree. That's your spell. When we burn this tree, that will be burned with it. And that will be sent off for your new year. Am I doing? Sure. Out there, I was like, those there.
That's another wonderful thing about this time of year, all the fantastic smells.
We also had cinnamon bear there. We would have the story of the cinnamon bear.
So who can I stay with to make my bucket list come true?
We had the story of the cinnamon bear. They played it on every year. We listened to it on the radio. It's the cinnamon bear looking for Santa. It's his journey. To get there. Yeah, so cinnamon bear is always a big thing. To be honest, I don't know really where it came from, but it was just always a thing. So at Christmas, we always had cinnamon bears, the big gummy ones. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we always did the story of the cinnamon bear in the parade.
Yeah, this one's televised, and it is Holy
Yeah,
Grail
no,
sandwich.
ours was just a local one, so it's probably just a mock-up of that, but, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'd like to go there just to smell it.
Yeah. And then it was oranges, maple oranges. You squish them up really good and cut a little hole in it, and you poke a peppermint stick in it. And you suck the juice out of your orange through the peppermint stick.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you have to be in a telephone. Have to be.
That's it. Okay, that one. All right.
Yay. All right. Thank you very much for adding your healthy, wealthy, and wise to our little tree. All right. So I think we've gone over not all things Yule, many things Yule. Thank you very much for joining us. And very neat, very hard, and
Very
neat
neat
again.